Hi, all of you. Good evening. Am I streaming fine for all of you? Am I audible clearly? Is the audio fine? Is the video fine? Yeah, today we had the essays paper. And as usual, the essays paper has abstract topics. I mean, that was always expected. I had no doubts about it. But then you always have 1 minute of self-doubt sometimes. Hi, Zaid. Good evening. Chirag, hello. I've seen you pretty often with me. Good to have you back, Chirag. Anybody else who can confirm that I am audible and I am visible properly? Am I streaming fine? Is the network fine from my side? Hello, Sahin Parveen. Sahin Parveen, Zaid, Chirag Kumar, Praful Nath, Ashwini, Devansh, Shubham Kumar. Good evening, all of you. Good evening. Avinash Kakoti, Sanjana Manwani. So nice to have all of you. Saurav, Chand, Kaushik, Sonia Chaudhary, Karan Sati. Good evening. So it's just about time. We'll start off our conversation. So today we had the first paper of 2023 mains. And the first paper is the essays paper. All of us wait for this paper with a lot of fear, anticipation, some bit of anxiety also, hoping against hope that maybe the paper will turn towards topical essays. But I think this pattern is set for a long time, unless UPSC decides to change dramatically after this one. The abstract paper will remain the flavor of the UPSC essays paper. Hi, all of you. Jagriti, Divyani, Tana, Rima, Rachit Chaudhary, Saurav Chand, Nadia Mary. Nadia, I think I have talked to you already earlier also. Nice to have you again. Hi, good evening, all of you. Good evening. So if I can ask all of you, if you can quickly tell me, what did you feel about the essays paper? You all have seen the question paper. What was your first reaction when you saw the paper? Do you think it was manageable? Okay, Rachit says it was comparatively easier this year. You observed, okay, fine. Hi, Rachit. Good evening. What is your reaction? Abstract paper remains as abstract paper. So what is your understanding of the paper? You think it is good overall? Interesting paper? Well, abstract topics are always interesting. So Ashwini says interesting paper. Fine, fine, I agree. Interesting paper, so definitely. Saurabh says manageable paper. Very nice. Manageable paper, Nadia. Okay, fine. But did you, some of you, try writing an essay on these topics? Innovative. I do not know innovative hai ya nahi, I do not know. But fine, moderate level. It was manageable, but to write and have content is quite difficult. All philosophical, agreed. Swami Nityanand's pravachan, say Devansh, it's manageable. Okay, so here is my verdict. You can write it's doable. Okay, you have done, okay, fine. Some of those you have done, excellent. So here is my verdict about the paper. If you can all see my screen. Okay, this is my screen. If you all can see this. So what I think is, if you look at, can you all tell me if you can see the screen, all of you? Can you all tell me if you can see the screen? Yeah? Okay, fine. So I think all of you can see my screen, not an issue in that case. So here is my verdict about the essays paper. What I think is the essays paper, definitely this time, the topics are more understandable. Okay, it looks like the topic is not the random topics, which is has been troubling many of us in recent times. So वैसा topics नहीं है. So yes, I agree when you say that the topic is moderate level, is understandable. that the topics looks like we can do it. But there's one catch here, I believe. Even if the topics are understandable, even if you think the topics are doable, the problem with this topic is that to write about 1,000 words, to write 10 pages is going to be very, very tricky. Because while you may understand the topic, to elaborate that in terms of a proper essay with all relevant points, good examples, to do justice in terms of discussion, abstract topics will always have that element of confusion. Okay, so Kautik says manageable. Part 2 was easier. Marks will decrease as it's manageable, I think. Satyam says one thing keeps retraining mind. UPSC needs a thinking person. Absolutely, Satyam. UPSC demands a thinking person. Yes, very right. Nadia says, not all who wanders are lost from the Lord of the Rings. Return of the Kings. Okay, fine. That could be a good reference point. So that looks good. Okay, so I said my verdict for the essays paper is that definitely the topics look more doable. The topics are moderate. We can understand the topic, though I still think there are 2-3 topics like visionary decision and intersection of intuition and logic topic. This one is, I think, the toughest topic of this year. Mathematics is the music of reason. And plus, maybe to some extent, if you can, develop this topic, ye bhi aasan nahi hai. Not all who wander are lost is still not a very easy topic to write on. Okay, but overall, I think I will agree that the essay is of the moderate level. Okay, the topics are understandable. The topics are understandable. It's not as bad as it was last year because the topics were hardly understood by what the topic was demanding. But I think in general, as we think about abstract essay, expanding the topic and elaborating the topic, plus giving proper examples, okay, and developing that into a 1,000 word, maybe 1,200 words to write about 10 to 12 pages on this topic will always be a tricky issue. Okay. Not all who wanders are lost. You found this easier, Harshita? Fine, that's okay. So good, I think we have a common understanding about the level of difficulty of the essay. Now, one important point for all of us here, guys, we are trying to if you all can see my screen, we are offering one booklet in essay, which we have curated, which we have developed. I have taken interest in putting them together. There is an essay booklet by Edukemy. It is 599 rupees, but we are giving a discounted price just for today. It has a collection of the previous year's topics along with theme discussions, and I focused more on philosophical themes, plus a short write-up around famous book summaries, interesting movies. So you can buy this online. You can scan the QR code and order for it. I think it should help you as a part of preparation. This is one announcement for all of you. If you are interested, scan this. It's available on the website. Okay, it is 599, but now for 399. That's one announcement for all of you. The second announcement is that on 21st of September, we have a scholarship test. A scholarship test where based on your marks, your performance, and your rank, you will be given some discount in our advanced courses. If you're interested on this, also advanced courses that gets you ready for the mains examination, along with test series, along with question discussions, along with the prelim support program, the main support program for GS. If you're interested for this also, you can scan this QR code and you can approach us and give the test. Nevertheless, it's open for the whole day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Okay, so this was a small announcement. Let's get back to our discussion now. So our discussion here is that if I'm looking at the essay topics, the challenge of essays writing in abstract sense continues to be one of the issues. Nevertheless, I've tried to curate some things together, and we'll try to put it as a part of how you can develop that into a proper essay. So we'll take up the topics one by one for our discussion. So I'm taking up the first topic. The first topic is thinking is like a game. It does not begin unless there is an opposition team. I think this is a fairly relatively easy topic. It says thinking is like a game. Thinking is like a game. It doesn't begin, doesn't happen without an opposition. It doesn't happen without an opposition. It doesn't begin without an opposition. So now, what this topic is trying to tell us is there is some merit in the opposition that we face. There's some merit in the challenges we face. There's some merit when we are constantly being pushed against the wall. There is some advantage if we are facing challenges in life. So this topic is about what? It's saying, no, first is saying that to face challenges, to face challenges is good, because this gives us some thinking. And what type of thinking? It helps us innovations. It helps us through creating solutions. If we have no challenge, if we have no opposition, we will not be thinking as a part of developing a strategic thinking. Without challenges, we cannot have long-term thinking. So if we want to do thinking as symbolic to some type of exercise where we are able to imagine things, an exercise where we are being able to connect some things, an exercise where we are able to look beyond the obvious. You're looking at deeper aspects of anything. So thinking ka matlab hota hai, we can imagine things. It's about connecting with a lot of new things. It's about developing deep insights into issues, developing deeper aspects ka thinking. You cannot do this until we face a challenge, until we face opposition, until we are facing some kind of hurdles in our lives. That way, it is trying to celebrate the idea that challenges is fine. I think up to here, this is perfectly fine. Now, what I fear in this topic, one problem students might have is that they might miss the idea called like a game. So my discussion switches here, okay? Now see this essay, now what will be the trap in the essay? What will be the trap? I think you can see my board now. Yes, it's visible. Yeah, okay, excellent. Thanks for being patient, all of you. And I think my voice is also fine now. Yeah, okay, excellent. So let's get back to our topic. I'm sorry for that interruption. Let's get back to our topic now. The topic we're talking about is thinking is like a game. It does not begin unless there is an opposition team. Okay, so thinking is like a game. Thinking is like a game. It doesn't begin unless there is an opposition. It doesn't begin unless there is an opposition. So I think this is fine. So the word opposition basically means there must be challenges. The opposition means there must be hurdles. Opposition means again there is somebody who is pushing us back. Opposition means there are certain failures also. opposition would imply that we are repeatedly have a sense of a discouragement. Okay, so if you do not have this, so what it's saying is that thinking is not possible. Thinking is not possible without these. Without these. So I think this is a fairly straight question here. Now, what I'm saying is, in this topic, there's a very important trap. The trap is many of us might miss the idea that thinking is like a game. So when you write this essay, while students might write, okay, to have hurdles is good, to have challenges is good. Okay, that's fine. But when I say look at the hurdles as a part of a game, now this game thing, I think most of the essays as writers will miss. There is a very specific meaning. See, I could simply say the topic could have been simply phrased as that thinking is not possible without an opposition. I could have said this simply. Okay, this was fine. This also means something. But the moment they say thinking is like a game, now this game thing has some important meaning. So whenever we say game, okay, there are some attributes to a game. In a game, what happens is that there are certain basic rules. There's some basic rules, and there is lot of infinite innovations beyond. आपने basic rules को माना है, okay, उसके बाद में you can have a lot of innovations. When I use the word game, there is an element of passion. Okay, there is an element of joy. Like there is an element of elation in this. Okay, when I use the word game, there is an element of a free fluidity. Okay, it happens very smoothly. Thinking is very smooth if you are thinking of game. When I say game is never a matter of life and death. In game, there are always opportunities. Okay, thinking is like looking for opportunities. When we say a game, a very important aspect of game is there must be some kind of a teamwork. There must be some kind of teamwork. When I use the word game, okay, it basically implies that every game, okay, has certain tricks. Every game has certain skills. Every game has some elements of muscle memory. It has some element of muscle memory. Every game is inclusive of the concept of practice. Every game has an element of dedication and discipline. So my anticipation is that many students who write an essay on this, although the essay looks fairly doable, the essay looks fairly possible, but if you do not understand what is the element of game in this topic, then you probably might miss out. So what happens is the opposition we are talking about, the opposition should not be seen as a random thing. Every opposition has a pattern to it. Every opposition has certain principles to it. Oppositions are not a matter of divine, unconquered challenge. Aisa nahi hai. Every opposition is based on certain principles. Every opposition will force you to innovate. In every opposition, okay, if you are seeing is a part of game, there's an element of passion you must have to overcome the opposition. There must be a kind of a joy, a sense of a victory when you're playing game against an opposition. And it is this opposition that forces some kind of fluidity, some kind of smoothness in how we manage. Every opposition forces that we have to work as a team. Every opposition, to deal with those, we need to learn skills. We need to have some tricks. We need to have a certain set of competencies. So what an opposition in a game does, it kinds of elevates our levels of competencies. Every opposition requires that we deal with it with sense of practice. So tell me, all of you online students, how many of you were consciously looking at what is the meaning of this word game? Can somebody tell me? How many of you were consciously very, very careful about कि topic में the word game use किया गया है? It is not simply that thinking cannot happen if there are no challenges. It's not simply that thinking innovation cannot happen if there are no hurdles. Okay, how many of you were aware of the idea the topic had the word game? Now, I always stress on this, that when you write an essay, it's very important that you get the hang of the keywords of the essay, that you can appreciate exactly what is the power word of an essay. Okay, so that's your learning. In this topic, the word game was very, very important. And then link, okay, why it is a game. And then you have to bring out the importance of opposition. Because see, this opposition is very important in a game. If I elaborate it, see, in a game that you have, the opposition, how do you see the opposition? Do you see the opposition as evil? Do you see the opposition as unconquerable? Do you see the opposition as something satanic? Do you see the opposition something as invincible? Do we see the opposition something as divine? ऐसा नहीं है ना? The opposition that we have, it is not evil. In the life, the challenges we face are not evil. That's why you must think and overcome it. The opposition we see in a game, they're not unmanageable. It's maybe some higher competency which we have to overcome. So the mantra is that thinking, good thinking, good innovation, good interesting solutions, thinking that creates new ideas. It is not possible if you see the hurdles as satanic hurdles, if you see the hurdles as divine hurdles, if you see the hurdles as invincible hurdles. जब game खेलते हैं, in fact, in the games that we play, what we are taught is the opposition must be respected. Okay, the games in which we play, the opposition is something that we are not scared. We are not scared. It is never a matter of threat to life. Yes. तो अगर आपने ये point miss किया हुआ है, I think you have missed a very, very important point in your conversation. Okay, so this is the discussion for this topic. So let's get back to the other topics now. The next topic is visionary decision making. I think I'll move on now. I hope you have got the sense of this topic. Why we use the word game. I can move on now. Yes, of course, the target to achieve, absolutely. Yes. So in life, thinking is innovative, thinking is constructive, thinking will be strategic, thinking will be innovative only if we respect the hurdles as manageable, not invincible, and not something divine that kills us. Like if we can look at that, then your thinking probably is part of a larger game. Yes, the thrill, absolutely correct, Sanket. The thrill of the playing the game should be part of your thinking in other challenges also. Okay, excellent. Let's look at the next topic. Visionary decision making happens at the intersection of intuition and logic. Okay, so visionary decision making happens. Visionary decision making happens at the intersection of intuition and logic. In fact, in the office today, we had a blast on this topic. Like one of our team members said, in this topic, there are 5 important words. One word called visionary, one word called as decision making, one word intersection, one word intuition, and one word logic. And he says sir, मैंने कभी सोचा नहीं था that these 5 words can be brought together to make a sentence also. It's like, so the phrasing of the sentence you said is totally out of the world. So to bring such diverse words and bring them in terms of a sentence that makes some meaning. He says this in itself was a huge challenge. So we had a blast laughing on that. Okay, but okay, fine. So now we know what these topics mean. Acha. The word intuition means what? The word intuition means there's something which is based on somebody's gut feeling. Okay, the word intuition basically means something that comes very natural, and there is an element of instinct. There is an element of unexplained possibility in terms of solutions. Intuition would imply something that comes from our a deep subconscious. I will not say unconscious. It comes deep subconscious. So intuition is maybe if I stretch a bit further, it's not the right word, but maybe something like a premonition, a gut feeling. And this intuition thing, in fact, for most of us, it is very innate. It's there inside us. The intuition element implies that it's not always backed by logic. Not always backed by logic. Not always, seemingly at least, backed by some kind of a reasoned explanation. Not backed by some kind of reasoned explanation. That's intuition. So intuition is more instinctual. In intuition, it's more innate. It's within us. Okay, fine. It could be karmic. Yes, you're right. Something on inner. Now, logic is something which is very scientific. Logic is something that is very rational. Okay, logic is something that is based on some reasons. Logic is something that can be explained. Logic is something that can be understood. Okay, logic is something that can be worked and arrived at. Okay, using sane arguments. If you can use wise arguments, you can use wide debates. Logic is something which perhaps is possible if you can use sensible debates. So logic has an element of predictability. Logic has an element of, I said, predictability. Logic is not random. In fact, intuition at least seems to be random. Okay, intuition is something you cannot explain. It's just there. It's there in us. I said it's an instinct thing. Okay, so what the topic is telling us is, can we all see that visionary decision making is based on intuition and logic? It is at the intersection of these two things. Absolutely. What is logic is also data driven. It is predictable. It is data driven, correct? Okay. Now see, this topic is trying to challenge the idea that decisions need not always be data driven. So what this topic is challenging. It is challenging the notion. This topic is challenging the idea that when we make decisions, when we arrive at making choices, when we are finalizing our actions. Okay, what topic is saying is that this is not always logical. It is not always data driven. It is not always scientifically arrived at, which can be replicated, which can be predictable. A very important part of decision making is that there is an element of intuition also. There is an element of unexplained, okay, a sense, a gut feeling, which things happen. Okay, so yes, that's why we say that in decision making, okay, there is an element of art. In decision making is not always a science. In decision making, okay, there is an element of spontaneity, which you can't explain or which can't arrive at if you use mechanical numbers. Okay. Now see, in this essay, one important word which people might miss is that this topic is not about decision making. The topic is about visionary decision making. That is a very, very important idea. Like I see many students or many aspirants might miss this word. So not any decision. When I say visionary decision, it's a long-term thing. Visionary is at a very high level. Now, see, if I capture the word visionary, what is visionary is very profound. What is a visionary sometimes is based on a deep faith. What is visionary is sometimes very, very long term. Okay, what is visionary is sometimes beyond our regular experience. In fact, what is visionary is often not based on our experience also. Okay, there is an element of okay, you can say element of unexplained larger view of things. When I say visionary, these are very powerful ideas. What it's saying is that if you're looking at decision making, the decision making is of two types. One is the more regular decision making, the more mundane decision making. There is an element of mechanical decision making, a decision making, okay, that requires more of a data driven process. So this type of decision making can be based on logic. But if you say decision making that includes some element of visionary aspects, now this decision making requires a lot of intuition also. Okay, so I mean, I could link this topic to, okay, why we are still fairly, okay, great distance away from AI taking over, okay, human decision making. There's still a lot of distance to cover. Why machines cannot okay, blindly replicate a human mind. Okay, this topic I can link to the fact, why do we need leaders? The difference between leaders and executives. There's a difference between leaders, okay, and those who are managers. Leader versus managers. I can link this topic to that. When I talk about leaders, leaders are the visionary ones. Managers solve problems. Managers are about taking decisions. A leader goes beyond that. So if you can see this aspect, that ये topic को apply कैसे करोगे? The topic has an element of, okay, the current debates we have, that the world needs innovative solutions. The world needs some kind of, okay, a visionary approach in problem solving, and how AI and machines and computers, okay, they are still based on logical thought. The visionary hai, the element of dream-like thing is not possible. So I can take the discussion towards how leaders are not same as managers and develop the essay. Does this topic make sense to all of you now? So my guess on this topic is many of the writings, essays will miss the word visionary. They simply explain how decision making requires a gut thing, requires an emotional thing, requires some bit of imagination beyond the regular. वो लिख देंगे. But visionary word में, I think many of the aspirants might get trapped. Yes, correct, Nikhil, correct. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's move on now. The next topic. Not all who wander are lost. Yes, Dikshit, that's my understanding. Okay, let's look at the next topic. Not all who wander are lost. I think this topic was actually, okay, in terms of understanding, it's not a difficult one. Not all who wander are lost. Okay, so first we must probably open up the word. What does the word lost mean? The word lost means there is an element of loss of purpose. Lost means there is a sense of helplessness. Lost means, okay, there is lot of self doubt and fear. Lost probably has an element of defeat. Lost has an element of finality. ये end है. Lost has an element of things have ended. Okay, so when I say I have lost, okay, there is helplessness and there is pain also. Okay, yes, exactly. There is the element of failure. When I say lost, okay, this is an element of failure. Okay, now when we use the word wander basically means, okay, roaming about, seemingly aimlessly. Wander, okay, means there is no plan. There seems to be no plan. Wander is about, okay, moving without any specific goals. Wander will have an element of randomness. The word wander would also imply, okay, that there is an element of loss of control. Okay, so what the topic is telling us is, just because somebody is roaming around aimlessly, he has no plan, he does not have any specific goals, he is not doing things very specific, randomness hai, and he does not seem to be in control, does not mean he has failed, does not mean he has no purpose, does not mean he is helpless, does not mean he is working with fear, does not mean he is defeated, does not mean it is end, it's finality. Okay, so wander would imply there is an element of exploration. Wander could imply an element of introspection. Wander could imply an element of learning. Wander would imply an element of courage. I mean, I'm always reminded of the example that Steve Jobs gave. Steve Jobs was at Stanford, I believe, but then after doing some classes, he dropped out, and then he started, exploring into different courses. And while doing that, he seemingly walked into a class of calligraphy. There is a very famous speech by Steve Jobs when addressing one of the convocation sessions in Stanford. There Steve Jobs says that when I dropped out, okay, I was moving around aimlessly, okay, and I entered into calligraphy class and I learned a lot of art aspects from calligraphy, and which he says that ultimately it became a part of my design in the future. It became a part of, okay, the products we designed. So this man who dropped out of the course, dropped out of a curriculum, out of college life, does not mean he was lost. He did not know what to do, but he was exploring. He did not know what exactly the steps he must take, but he was not in a hurry to declare that he is defeated. He did not exactly have a specific goal to move towards, does not mean that he was random and he was doing that from fear. Okay, so anybody who is roaming around or seemingly having no plan does not mean that he is lost. So this topic you can relate to the importance. This topic is about the importance of venturing into okay, a new uncharted domains. It's about trying new things, and it's okay not to know all the answers. It's okay, it's fine to be okay in an environment that is unfamiliar, okay, because you are exploring things. Yes, you can say that. So the essay is about that, and thereafter whatever examples you want to put in, that's perfectly your choice. Okay, so I think while developing this essay, you need to write about what does the word wander mean, and then tell us that wandering of that kind is not always about failures, loss of control, about defeat. It's not necessarily that. Yes, absolutely. You can relate this to entrepreneurship. You can relate this to the startup ecosystems. You can relate this to the new experiments that we are having. And sometimes, people also go out into world tours without an agenda. They like traveling. Absolutely. Yes, Samisha, you can do that. Okay, so I'm done with this topic number 3. Let's look at the next topic. Inspiration from creativity springs from the effort to look for the magical in the mundane. Inspiration for creativity springs from the effort to look for the magical in the mundane. Okay, so inspiration for creativity happens when we look for the magical in the mundane. What's mundane is what is regular. What is mundane is what is boring. What is mundane is something that is taken for granted. What mundane is something that is habitual for us. What's mundane is something that is okay, that is very predictable. Okay, so the topic is about that if you want inspiration for creativity, so innovation requires that we create new things out of what is regular. I mean, if you remember, this famous saying that says that successful people do not do different things. They do the same things differently. Have you heard this topic or this statement? Successful people, they do not do different things. Okay, they do same things differently. This topic is exactly that. That if I'm looking for creativity, if I'm looking for something new, I'm looking for something that is path breaking, something that is inspiringly different. It does not come from doing extraordinary things. Okay, it comes from looking at the same thing in a very different way. Correct. And I think the most common example that perhaps strikes us is Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton, and a very mundane thing like an apple falling. And he was able to think about the law of gravity. Okay, that was the brilliance of, and this is true for almost most of the scientific research. जितना भी आप scientific research देख लो आप, the scientific research actually questioning whatever is around us. Why does the air move? Why does it rain? Why do plants grow? Why do we have day and night? Okay. Why do we have seasons? Why do somebody falls? Why do things fly? Okay, these are very mundane things, very regular things. So if you want inspiration for creativity, you need to look for something beyond the obvious. When I say look for magical, this word magical has a very important meaning. Yes, Archimedes, a simple thing like a boat moving, and he was able to think about the whole principle of flotation. Absolutely correct. Yes, yes, absolutely. So the word magical implies something which is extraordinary, something which is very, very different in terms of how we experience it. Okay. The word magical implies an element of awe. Okay. It implies an element of joy. Okay. If you look for joy, we look for the deep I'll say uniqueness in things. Okay. If we question things deeply. Okay. So magical word is some of these things. Yes, absolutely. In fact, even the discovery of genes, the two snakes wrapping around, sorry, not genes, the DNA. Okay, and the benzene ring. If you know about the benzene ring discovery, the benzene ring discovery was because the scientist, he could imagine two snakes and he could create something out of that. Okay, so and magical also has an element of childlike simplicity and childlike innocence we have. That if you want creativity, okay, you cannot look for creativity in things by making it too complicated. Creativity requires a childlike simplicity. It requires innocence of mind. Okay, magical somewhere also implies that there must be an element of accepting that there are deeper magics beyond what is obvious. So if you cannot look beyond obvious, you will never know the magic. Okay, so that's about this topic. Okay, if you want inspiration for creativity, you must have that element of exploration in you. Okay, fine. So I think most of you have got the hang of this. Yes, Salangi, you could link it, but I'm not really sure if it directly comes to that one. Okay, let's move on. So I'm done this one. The next topic is girls are weighed down by restrictions, boys with demands, and two equally harmful disciplines. This is, I'll say, not a very difficult topic, But I do not know if people have interpreted this particular phrase that girls are weighed down. Girls are weighed down by restrictions. Okay. And it says boys are weighed down with demands. I think girls are weighed down by restrictions. I think nobody has any problem with this one. We all agree and we can elaborate on this. Yes, we agree. Girls are weighed down by restrictions because of culture, restrictions because of social norms, restrictions because somewhere girls themselves restrict themselves because of their mental thinking. Restrictions sometimes are imposed, okay, because of I'll say because of wrong learnings. Okay, तो इस पे तो आप कैसे बन जाएगा? You should have no problem in writing about yes, girls are weighed down by restrictions. Now, I think ये जो part है, boys are weighed down with demands. Can anybody tell me what does this mean? Okay, I'll ask a question to you. Does this statement means boys demand too much and therefore, okay, they are underperforming? Okay, or boys have too much demanded from them, okay, and therefore it kind of counters, it is counterproductive. Anybody can tell me? Boys are weighed down with demands. Okay. What does this word mean? Okay, and the two are equally harmful. What is the meaning of boys are weighed down with demands? Anybody? What do you think is right? Boys demand too much and therefore, okay, somewhere they get compromised? Or does this mean boys have too much demanded from them? Say one or two, आप कौन सा बोलोगे? Too much from them? It's about expectations from them. Which do you think you will support? Which do you think the essay is trying to talk about? With demand का meaning क्या है? They're weighed down with demand. Second one, Prasanna, Sanket says second one. Mangesh, you also mean second one. Can you tell me why it is not the first one? Would the topic mean differently if I'd phrased it as boys are weighed down by demands? If I replace the word with, okay, do you think this will make some difference? Now you tell me, does the statement 2 represent A or does the statement 2 represent B? Boys are weighed down by demands and boys are weighed down with demands. अब आप बताओ. Okay. The idea that boys have too much that is expected from them. Does this now, okay, is this about the statement A or about statement B? पहले बताओ, can you all see that these two are different ideas? Can you all see this, all of you? That boys demand too much is a different idea from there is too much demand on the boys. Can you see the two statements are different? Confused now. Saket says he's confused now. I hope you can see ये दोनों का अलग meaning है. So if I say boys are weighed down by demands, okay, that is something different from boys are weighed down with demands. Yes. So how many of you could see these two ideas? And my opinion is, I think both the ideas should have been discussed. If I was writing this essay, I would think on this. Okay, the first one is girls are weighed down by restrictions, likh raha hai, where it shows the restrictions are from outside. If it had said boys are weighed down by demands, I would have said, okay, demands are from outside. But because it says boys are weighed down with demands, okay, I cannot ignore this aspect of the interpretation. ये भी एक interpretation है. I'm not saying that if I write this, ये गलत है. ऐसा नहीं है. It's not wrong. But this also is an important aspect of, okay, the conversation. And both are different demands. And see, there's a truth. Boys, there's a truth in the fact that boys are more demanding. Okay. And boys face, okay, lots in terms of demands on them. दोनों right है. Okay. अगर boy है तो he must be brave. A boy है, he cannot cry. A boy है, okay, we want him to become very strong. अगर boy है, so he will be physically, emotionally very strong. So we demand that boys should become strong. Boys cannot cry. It means boys are always brave and they can take a risk. Boys are meant to succeed. Boys are meant to take risks. Okay, boys are expected to be adventurous. Okay, this also is a huge burden on boys. Okay, boys can't cry. It's a very big expectation from boys that we have, and sometimes all of this kinds of put pressure on the boys. But ये भी fact है. Okay, when we say boys are more demanding, this basically means boys have a sense of entitlement. Boys have a sense of entitlement. Boys have a sense that, okay, it is their birthright to get some privileges. Boys are more demanding. Okay, somewhere, okay, they see that they are deserving of better things. Okay, just because they're boys. And this also is not right. So I would expect that your essay should have had both the elements, while I think most of them would have written this dimension alone. I hope I'm able to give some insights on the essay's writing. Are you all getting some insights, all of you? देखिए ऐसे एग्जैक्टली क्या होगा बाद में है, but कम से कम you must have a sense of knowing how your essays can be good, how your essays can be exciting, how your essays can be different from the others. I mean, I always maintain this, that we do not want good essays. What we require is essays that shows brilliant thinking, essays that show deep understanding, essays, write-ups that shows one's ability okay to develop like an idea, okay, a very structured, very logically, very interestingly. ठीक है, so आपका essay सिर्फ good essay in terms of कि अच्छा अंग्रेजी है, okay, you have got enough points, that will not give you. See, I am looking at 135 plus marks. I'm not happy with average marks 110, 100 say marks, 95, 115. इसमें से मेरा कुछ भी नहीं होने वाला. I want 135, 140 plus were required. ठीक है? So anyways, that's the whole objective of the conversation, that we need you to think in some different ways also, not simply okay one directional thinking. Okay, fine, Shubham, you're right. Okay, both of this tells us there is element of patriarchy. In fact, restrictions on girl is also patriarchy. Boys are more demanding is also patriarchy. And boys facing these demands is also patriarchy. You're right, absolutely. Okay, anyways. So guys, one announcement for all of you, okay, so that you don't forget this. We are trying to promote certain things. We're trying to achieve certain things in trying to support you. One is we have compiled a collection of good essays, some thematic essays, philosophical essays, with notes on personalities. There are 4 booklets in general. Okay, some writing on summaries from the books, movies, which otherwise was available for $3.99. For today, just for today, we're giving you a discount. You can buy this for $5.99. You can scan this and order it for yourself. Okay, and I think you will learn a lot of essay writing from this. So do consider this one. Okay, it's one offering that we have. Take out your phone if you can, or take a screenshot of this and scan this. You'll get it. You'll also put up the scan on the comment section. Okay, and next is 21st September. We have a scholarship test. A scholarship test where we can, based on your marks, on your rank, okay, on your performance, we can give you some scholarship into our course called as advanced course. Advanced course is very mains oriented, prelims exam oriented, level 3 questions, with test discussions, with model answers. Okay, so if you are willing to avail the discount and be part of the in-depth study, you can again take a screenshot of this, scan this QR code, and let us know you're interested. And the course le na le, but I'll still invite all of you to be part of this, okay, a scholarship test at least. Let's see how good or how well prepared you are. We can decide thereafter. Okay, so back to our conversation here. So I was talking about topic number 5. Let's move on to topic number 6. I think topic number 6 is the trickiest topic of this essays paper. Mathematics is the music of reason. Mathematics is the music of reason. Okay, let's take up this topic and see what would this mean. Mathematics is the music of reason. Now see, there are, to understand what this topic means, this topic essentially is telling us that mathematics as a subject, numbers, okay, or talk in terms of, okay, those figures, in terms of equations. So when I say mathematics, what do I mean? I mean numbers. Mathematics would mean maybe equations. Mathematics, okay, would mean those figures. Mathematics would mean data. Mathematics would mean facts. Okay, mathematics, okay, would mean, okay, geometry. Okay, it means calculations. Okay, now what is the general perception about these things? In general, we see that these things are considered as boring. They're considered as mechanical. They're considered as, okay, unromantic. Mathematics is considered as sometimes, I mean, it is a very unhuman thing. Okay, mathematics is not associated with fun. It is not associated with, okay, a passion and joy. Like, this is the general perception of what mathematics is, and I've broken up the topic. Okay, mathematics, numbers, equations, geometry, calculations. Okay, sometimes, okay, mathematics is also drab and boring. Okay, think of some of us with science or mathematics background. What did we think about calculus, integration, differentiation? Some of you have been part of those engineering subjects, and I'm sure you've heard about those big equations, like a binomial theorem, God knows what all, quadratic equations. How did we see that as? We saw that as boring. We saw that as mechanical. It's unromantic. Yeah. Boring people, nerds. Mathematics is nerdy. Boring, bookish people do mathematics. Okay, mathematics is no fun. It's not even a human thing. Okay, that is the perception. This topic says, mathematics is like music. It is music of reason. Now see, when we use the word music, okay, what does music mean? Music में बहुत important ये है that music is based on patterns. Music is never random. It is never random. Music is beautiful. Is beautiful, and it is made up of seemingly, okay, boring and meaningless notes. अगर आप म्यूजिक देखोगे, what is music? A series of sounds है ना, and the sound in itself is not beautiful. Okay, but when you combine them together, it's beautiful. So when I say music, okay, there is an element of, okay, unification of otherwise meaningless sounds. When we say music, okay, music is linked to emotions. There is joy, there is sadness, okay, there is elation, there is fear. Music में emotions आती हैं. Okay, music में patterns हैं. Music is beautiful. Music invokes, okay, connect at mental level, connect at emotional level. Okay, this is mathematics is like music. Music of what? Music of reason. Reason is, okay, so what we see as explanations, what we see as, okay, science, what we see as rational, okay, what we see as, okay, examples. So what you're telling us is mathematics is essentially not a random boring subject. Mathematics includes lot of explanations, and the explanations create patterns in them. Okay, the explanations that we have, because each one of them is part of a bigger truth. Okay, there's an element of unification. Therefore, it's connected at a mental level, at an emotional level. You cannot have. It tells us that mathematics is not a random set of numbers. Okay. Mathematics is about science. Mathematics is about explanations. Okay, and these are part of some patterns. So the problem with mathematics is this very important point, that mathematics is abstract. It's like if I ask you, do you understand this? There is apple, there's another apple. Okay, if I put them together in a basket, what I get is, okay, maybe a packet of 2 apples. There is one basket of a mango, another basket of a mango, another basket of a mango. When I put them together, I get a basket where we have mangoes. So apple is something I can see. Mango is something I can see. The problem is when I don't talk about mathematics in terms of apples and mangoes, and I say 1 plus 1 is 2. When I say 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So this is abstract. ये 1 क्या है? ये 3 क्या है? What is 3? What is 2? It's an abstract thing. The problem with mathematics is it deals with abstractness. Abstractness is something that does not have form. Abstractness is something that is not having a specific shape. Abstract is something that is not a thing. Happiness is not a thing. Happiness is not a shape. Fear is not a shape. And that is why to define it objectively becomes difficult. But it says, even if it is abstract, it is beautiful. So if I write this essay as that mathematics is actually not boring. Mathematics is actually not random. Mathematics is not exactly, okay, plain and bland. Mathematics is not for unimaginative. Okay, mathematics, okay, is abstract, but it is beautiful, but it is okay, it is capable of evoking emotions. Mathematics is capable of deep joy, because it is based on patterns of reason, because it is based on, okay, it's based on, okay, a certain certain examples that are depicted. They're depicted from abstractness. Mathematics is not vague if we see it in totality. If we see it in totality, this is what the topic means. Mathematics is the music of reason. It's music of reason, okay? Because even though it is abstract, you cannot capture in terms of a shape. Abstract ka matlab hai something that has no shape, something that has no form, something that is not an object. Yet it is beautiful. Yet it evokes emotions. Yet it is a deep joy because mathematics has patterns. Mathematics random nahi hai. Mathematics is inspired by real life events. It is not vague because it has the picture of totality in it. So this we can relate to the fact that I can link this mathematics thing to truth. I can link mathematics to the sense of control and efficacy. Yes, this topic is definitely not a regular topic. It is definitely a higher level topic. But agar aap likh pao, this will be a brilliant essay to write on. Mathematics is truth, and truth doesn't always have shapes, but truth has patterns. Truth is beautiful. Truth can evoke emotions. Truth is not vague. Truth is based on some totality of things. This is philosophical, I agree. But do you see something, what this topic means? All of you? Can you all appreciate something, what this topic would mean? And you don't have to write it down, of course. Yeah, mathematics required. So idea ye hai that mathematics people are boring. No. Because it is this, mathematics demands imagination. Okay. Mathematics demands deep, passionate involvement. Like any music. Make sense, all of you? So I could have written this topic on these lines. Fine, Rahul, that's good. If you can think on those lines, excellent. Absolutely excellent. No issues. Yeah? Okay, fine. So that's about this topic. Let's move on. The next topic, I think the topic number 7 is among the easiest one. A society that has more justice is a society that needs less charity. This is perhaps the easiest topic. Society that has more justice is a society that needs least charity. Okay. So when I say a society that has justice means what? Justice means there is equality, there is sharing, there is sense of responsibility, there is no exploitation. A society that has more justice implies a society in which Okay. There is rule of law. A society, the justice hai. There will be mutual empathy. There will be the feeling. You'll feel for somebody's pain. The society which has justice, yes, okay, there will be need for less charity. I substantiate this with examples. Okay, whatever. I mean, charity is somewhere about giving alms. It's about dole outs. It's about very poor people who can't stand for themselves. I think this is the easiest topic you could have attempted and develop into a proper essay. I don't think I need to explain this one. Okay, so let me directly jump into the last topic. Last topic. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. Okay. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. Very nice. Okay. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what was taught in schools, what one has had learned in school. Okay. Now see, what this tells us is that schools kind of force, schools, they are mechanical. Schools, they kind of generalize solutions. Schools kill creativity. Schools maybe teach how to fake. Schools are very regimented. Schools are not deep learning. Schools are based more on conformist attitude. People must conform to some ideas. So schools में एक force का element है, एक discipline का element है. In school there is very strong hierarchy. Okay, so schools actually what they do is with these elements, I repeat, schools में force element है, discipline है, hierarchy है. Lot of things are mechanically followed. There is a curriculum, there's a timetable. Okay, schools tend to generalize things, what we call as cookie cutter approach. Schools kill creativity. They don't want people think differently. In school, there's more talk about conforming to some thoughts and ideas. Okay, schools there's no deep learning. And I said because of that, we learn to fake things. Okay, we try to say things which can give us marks. We end up doing things which will get us approval. So schools are about fitting marks. Schools are more about fitting into groups. Schools are more about getting accepted. That's why it does not bring out the true learning that we want. And education by that sense is deep learning. Education includes insights. Education includes deep appreciation. Education, there is an emotional connect. Education is about truth, about justice, element of honesty. So when we grow up and ultimately we realize the futility of these aspects, ye bhai galat hai. Okay, bhai, this is not the right thing. It is then that we actually start getting into this. So see, while this topic is understandable, yes, Shivam, one size fits all. We can understand the topic, but see, what is required in essays writing is your ability to open up the words. Okay, what essays demand is that you must be able to expand on the words, open up the words. You must be capable of taking an idea and breaking up into parts, sub-parts, and then dwelling on the deep discussions. So this conversation was more about that. Can you take up a topic and dwell on the deep aspects or not? So guys, this is what I could discuss in this short time. I hope it helps you. And a quick reminder for all of you, I said, we have this to offer to all of you. You can purchase our essays booklet at a discount. It's valid only for today. Just for today, if you can buy this. And it's a good collection of personalities, summaries, previous years, kuch essays hain. You can scan this QR code and put your order. And then 21st of September, we said we have a scholarship test for advanced GS course. Based on your rank, your marks, we'll give you some discounts on this. So that's about it. I could have only discussed as much in this much time. I hope you all learned something. I hope you all were able to engage into thinking something different in the topics. Let us know what you feel about it. All of you, any comments that you have, any inputs that you have, you're welcome to share. Thank you, Mangesh. Let me get the model essays ready on these topics. You can apply and get a copy of that also. Okay, it's possible to get something once you have done it. I'll let you know. I'll put it up on the website, on our Telegram channels. Okay. So thank you so much for joining in. We'll have these discussions in the late evenings. GS paper 1, GS paper 2, 3, 4, and the rest. Okay. So thank you for joining in. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye, all of you.